Hey everyone, it's Jake. Welcome back to another Unreal Engine tutorial. So this one was requested by a viewer of mine. His name is Uchidan. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But he suggested that I try to show you guys how to create a Resident Evil style interaction system that's going to be proximity based rather than using line traces. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build an interaction system that feels like a AAA interaction system with proximity. So let's get started, guys. All right, everyone. So for starters, I'm using the third person template project. So it's just so I have a player character to run with. What we're going to start out doing is we're going to set up our folders. So as always, I'll do _main. Inside of my main folder, I'm going to create a interface folder. Inside of the interface folder, we're going to go ahead, right click, go to blueprint interface. I'm going to call this BPI Interactable. And this interface is going to attach to our interactable objects. So let's go ahead and open that interface. Once we're inside, we're going to start with a single function, and that's just going to be interact. We'll be going more in depth in part 2, creating a UI and outline system as well. So we'll be adding functions to this interface, but for today, we'll just have the interact function. We'll give it an input of interactor. We'll make that of type actor, and it'll be an object reference. Go ahead and compile and save that. So now what we're going to want to do is in our same folder, I'm going to create another folder for the actor component. Inside of here, right click, go to blueprint class, click actor component. We'll call this interactor. Open up the actor component, and we're going to add some variables in here. The first one is going to be interaction radius. This is going to be how large the radius around the player character is that we're detecting items. We'll make that a float. I am going to default it to 250. Next, we're going to do a minimum dot threshold. This is going to determine the angle, basically, or how far off you can be looking from the object that's close to you. So I found through testing that 0.45 seems to be pretty good. So we'll do that. Now we're going to do nearby interactables. This is going to be of type actor, and then you can hover over that and right click and it'll turn it into an array, which is what we want. We want an array of actors so that way we have a list of the nearby interactables that we're going to be storing. Then we're going to do current interactable actor, change that back to a singular actor class. We can duplicate that by highlighting it and holding Control and pressing D, and we will call that last interactable actor. So the component is going to own its own logic. Everything's going to be contained within this actor component, and I've kind of explained in previous videos why I prefer actor components over jamming code into a single class. So that's why we're sticking with this route. It's just a lot more clean and more friendly to change in the future. So now we can compile and save this. Let's go over into our player character. So I'm opening BP third person character. Inside of BP third person character or your character, you're going to look for a sphere collision. Add that to the character, and we'll call this interaction sphere. I'll save. Now, what we're going to want to do here is add an object channel. So go to edit, go to project settings. On the left hand side under engine, go to collision. You're going to see object channels. You can have up to 18 custom ones in a project. Click new object channel. We'll call this interactable and set the default response to ignore. The reason we are doing that and setting the default response to ignore is because it's going to add that object channel, and we don't want there to be accidental cases where something is an interactable object and it's blocking the response automatically. So leaving it at ignore is best, I found, because then it allows you to actually have to go set the response or the channel within the item. So we can get out of project settings now. Highlight your interaction sphere. Excuse me. Scroll down. Underneath collision presets where it says overlap all dynamic, change that to custom. We're going to change the object type from world dynamic to pawn. I found that this kind of helps again with little accidents or mistakes happening in the future with other objects overlapping it or blocking it. So setting it to pawn makes it treat itself like it's actually a part of this pawn. I've just found that it works better. What we're going to do here is we can ignore every other channel for now. Let's refresh this. There we go. Now our interactable object channel appeared after we compiled. If it's not appearing, go up and hit compile. You're going to want to change this to overlap. So now our interaction sphere on the player is only going to overlap and have overlap events trigger when it is overlapping with an interactable object from that channel. So we can go ahead and quickly just implement those two events. We'll implement on component begin overlap, click the sphere again, implement on end overlap. All right, now that we have implemented the overlap events, let's go back into our actor component and we're going to create a function. We're going to call this one register nearby actors. Control D and duplicate it, and we're going to do unregister nearby actors. This is how we're going to be deciding what we're able to interact with, how close it is. If we're looking at it, it's going to be contained within these functions. So go ahead and go into register nearby actor. We're going to add an input, call that actor. It will be of type actor. Go to unregister nearby actors, and we're going to do the same thing for the input. It's going to be an actor object reference. The name is just going to be actor. Now we can go back into our third person character. Off of on component begin overlap, well, actually first we're going to want to add the component to the player. So go to add, search for AC interactor, add it. Now that we have that, we can pull it out and get it, drag off of it and type register, and we'll call register nearby actors, plug that in. Now from the other actor pin, we'll plug that into our actor input. So now that function is registering the actor that we are overlapping with. It's going to add it to our list. Now again, we can get AC interactor again, and we'll do unregister nearby actors, and it'll be the same exact process. We'll hook it up to the execute. We'll take other actor and feed it into the actor input, and this is going to remove actors from our list that we have in the actor component. Now we can head back into AC interactor. We'll go into the register function. Out of here, pull off of actor, get an is valid. I like to use the macro with the question mark because it's already wired for you. So we can do the registering. We'll check if it's valid. If it is valid, we're going to check if the actor, so you can right click and type get actor, and it's going to feed us the input right here, get actor. And you'll know it's the function input by the little F with the forward arrow. That means you are using this input. So we can take this and we're going to do does implement interface. We're going to check if it implements our BPI interactable interface. If it does, that means that it is an interactable object. So we'll hit that with a branch, go off of the is valid. Now, if it does implement the interface, what we're going to do is take our nearby interactables array and get it. We want to do add unique because then you will not have multiple copies. It will only add a single copy of that actor. So we'll do add unique. What we're adding is going to be get actor again from the input to keep it clean, feed that in, and we can return. So that is registering the actors. Now we're going to go to unregister. In here, we'll do the same thing. Is the actor valid? If it is, we're going to remove item from nearby interactables. So get the array, remove item, hit that to the valid, get actor from our input. Now we can take our current interactable, pull off of it, get an equals, and check if it's equal to the actor that we are inputting. So we can just duplicate that, hit it with a branch. If it is true, you're going to set the current interactable to none. We're going to clear it out because the one we're removing is our current one. So we invalidate that. So when something leaves our range, we remove it. Then if it was focused, we're clearing the focus here at the end. All right, now on to the meat and bones. we're going to work on the solver function. So what we're going to do is add a new function. We'll call this one find best interactable. We're going to create some local variables, and a local variable just helps keep your component clean or your actor clean. The local variables are only displayed within the function that they're a part of. So you won't see those variables outside of find best interactable. What we're going to add is an actor type, and we're going to call that best actor. We're going to do best score. That's going to be of type float. We're going to make another float that's going to be called dot. Another variable called direction to target. That is going to be a vector. And then we're going to do one more float, and that one's just going to be called score. Not a name. You want that to be a float. In the very beginning of the function, we want to reset best score. Personally, I just do negative 9,999. We'll change best actor and invalidate it at the beginning. Set best actor to none. This just prevents any issues in the future of us having something stored already or having a hard-coded value. So it just helps make everything function correctly. All right, now what you're going to want to do is add a for each loop. So you can right-click, do for each, get the for each loop, plug that in, get our nearby interactables array, plug that into the array of the loop. Now, inside of the loop body, what we're going to want to do is get the player controller. We're going to get the control rotation. So this will give us exactly what it's saying, the control rotation off of the player controller, where the player is looking, what the rotation is. And then off of the control rotation, we're going to get the forward vector. So now we're getting the forward vector where the player is looking. Now we're going to get the direction to the target. So to do that, right click, get owner, get actor location. Off of that, we're now going to do our array element, and off of the array element in the loop, we're going to get the actor location there. So now we're getting the player's location, and we're getting the item's location. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the target location, and we're going to subtract it from the player location to get the difference. We're going to hit that with a normalize, and then we're going to set direction to target off of that, and put that to the loop body. So now we have our direction to the target we're trying to interact with. Now we're going to get the dot product. So by doing that, you can right click, type dot, just do the dot product up here. For the dot product, we're going to use the forward vector math that we got earlier from the player controller. That's going to go into the top pin. Our bottom pin is going to be direction to target, and then that is going to be our dot variable. So we can set that right here. Now we're going to filter this using our minimum threshold. So we can drag off of dot and we can check if it's greater than our threshold. That was what we set earlier. It was the 0.45. And that'll allow you to tweak it later so you can adjust how closely you need to be angled and looking at something for it to count. Next, what we're going to want to do here is right click, get owner again, pull off of the return value, get distance to the top one. The other actor is going to come from our array element. So I'm just going to pull this down here, reroute, pull this back over here, and plug it into other actor. So now we're getting the distance from the owner to the other actor in the array. We're going to drag off of get distance to, hit it with a multiply it by 0.001. This is just a slight penalty. Now we're going to pull out our dot variable and get it, subtract the dot from the penalty, and this is going to be our object score. So we can pull this back over and attach it to the true branch. I'll move some of these up here just to get it out of the way. Just drag this down here. So now we've set our score, and off of the score, we're going to want to check if it's greater than our best score, which we set to -9 in the beginning. Hit that with a branch. We'll continue our flow off of score. Now what we're going to do, if this is true and our score is greater than the best score, what we're going to do is set best score to the score variable, and we're going to drag out best actor, and we're going to set it. And we're going to take that, and we're going to connect that with a reroute back to the loop. we can actually connect it to our other reroute. So now best actor is being set from the for each loop. So what we've got set up here now is something that chooses the best interactable based on where you're looking, and dot gives us the aim priority. Distance is only a tiebreaker if the objects are both being looked at. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over to the loop, and we're going to run off of the completed, and we're going to set our current interactable actor off of the completed, and that's going to be set by our best actor that we sent at the end of the loop body. Now we're going to check if the current interactable actor is not equal to our last interactable actor. Hit it with a branch. If it's true, we're going to check if the current interactable actor is valid. Connect that to the true of our previous branch. If that's true, we're going to drag off the current interactable, get the display name. This is just for debugging, so that way we can see what's going on. We're going to print string, not log, print string, look data, and then finally, we're going to set our last interactable actor to our current interactable actor. Now we'll go off of the not valid, duplicate the print. We'll just have it print none. And then we'll do the same setting up here. We'll just connect back in, compile and save. Next, we're going to want to go back into the event graph in AC Interactor, pull off a begin play. We're going to do a set timer by function name, and we're going to type in the function name, find best interactable. Put it on a 0.1 second looping timer. Make sure you check looping or it's only going to fire once. So now, when we play the game, this interactor component is going to be running on a 0.1 second loop our find best interactable function. So we're going to constantly be searching for interactables. And you can adjust that time on the timer to suit your needs. 0.1 works great for me. So the next step is going to be to create our test interactables. So let's go back into our folders, create a new folder. I'll call this test items, right click, blueprint class, actor, BP underscore interactable. We'll just call it A. Go inside of it. Under components, click add. We'll add a cube static mesh just for testing. Click on the mesh, scroll down under collision presets, change block all dynamic to custom. We're going to ignore everything. I guess we can leave everything there. And just change your interactable channel to overlap. So that way this object will overlap. My apologies. So what you actually want to do up in here is under object type, you want to change it to interactable. Under the collision presets, we can just go to block all dynamic. Next, you're going to go into class settings. Under implemented interfaces, we're going to go ahead and add BPI interactable. That's going to add our interact function. Double click on it and it'll implement it. Now we're going to pull off of this and just do print string. You can pull off of the string and type append. And in A, we'll type interacted with. And in B, we'll drag off and do get display name. Off of the object, we'll pull off and get a reference to ourselves. So now when we interact with this object, it will print its display name for us so we know which one we're interacting with. Now go back into your player character and we're going to add the interaction event. So we'll search for, on the E key, we'll pull off of AC Interactor. We're going to get the current interactable actor variable, and we're going to call the interact message on the interactable. And that's how you would set up a basic interaction function. So now when we press E, depending on which target we are facing, it's going to interact with that. So let's go ahead, go into our level, open the content drawer. We can create two children classes of our interactable. So right click it, create a child, call this BP interactable B. You can duplicate that one and call this BP interactable C. Now let's put these in the level. We'll go ahead and put that, and then we'll just put this one next to this one so you can see how it works when they're basically in the same spot. One last little thing that we want to do that I forgot to mention is over in the player character, click on construction script up in the top. grab AC interactor, drag off of it, and get the interaction radius variable. Now drag your interaction sphere into the construction script and do set sphere radius. Plug that in and plug in interaction radius into here. So now whatever our radius is in the actor component, it will automatically update that here. So as you see, it was small before because it was set to default when we compile. Now it's set to 250, which is my default. So let's go back into the level, hit play. Real quick, guys, one thing, and I kind of screwed myself up, but you want to go back into Interactable A, our parent class, go to the collision presets on the cube, and make sure that the interactable collision response is set to overlap. If it's set to ignore, it's not going to work. So now we can go into the level, hit play, and when we walk up to these cubes, Interactable A is what we're looking at. These are all within our radius, but Interactable A is within the 0.45 angle that we gave it, so we're looking at it and it knows it. If we press E, you interacted with Interactable A. We didn't interact with the other two objects. If you turn, you're looking at Interactable C now, and we interacted with it. If you turn over here, that's B. We interacted with B. If you turn around, none prints because you're not looking at anything, and you can press interact all you want and it's not going to pick anything up. So as you see, that's a complete working proximity interaction system similar to Resident Evil and other AAA games. And that's going to do it for part 1, you guys. Interaction system with proximity and aim selection with interface-based interaction. We don't have UI yet. That'll be in the next video. We'll be focusing on adding a little pop-up as well as a little overlay material to outline what your players focused on. If you guys found this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate all of you who have been sticking around through the journey. It's been great, and I look forward to bringing you guys more content in the future. Thanks again, and have a good day.